All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. I'm going to have you pause the video here. And in the first chunk of your notes, I'm going to have you read the 4 vocabulary words and their definitions first. When you're done reading them, go ahead and push play. All right, so this picture that you see in front of you is the last example in the first chunk. We would read this picture, please write it with me underneath the picture in your notes. We would read this picture as 2 to the 3rd power. Whoa, there's one of those vocabulary words that you just read the definition for. So let's break this down a little bit more. Next, I want you to label this. This 2 in the picture is what we call the base number. There's another vocabulary word. This 3 in the picture is what we call the exponent. And this whole thing together is what we call the power. So, our goal is to recognize exponents as a new operation of repeated multiplication. Ms. Kluver, how are we accomplishing that goal with what you just showed us? Well, that's going to come next. So let's look to the second chunk in our notes. So now we're going to simplify the expression. Simplify literally means just make it look simple. Expression is a number sentence without an equal sign, like 1 plus 3. That's an expression. So here's the expression I want you to write down in this second chunk next to the number 1. Our expression is going to be 2 to the 3rd power. Now, simplify the expression. What do you mean by this, Ms. Kluver? Well, here is my base. Here's my exponent. All together, this is a power. We read it as 2 to the 3rd power. So my base is the number being multiplied in a power. The exponent is an operation that tells how many times the base is used as a factor in a multiplication problem. So I'm going to use 2 as a factor 3 times. So that looks like this. Write it with me in your notes. 2 times 2 times 2. Hey, I can do this. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So that means 2 to the 3rd power simplified is 8. Awesome, let's do another one. Okay, here's the next expression I want you to write down. Let's do 4 to the 2nd power. My exponent tells me how many times my base is being used as a factor. So I'm going to use 4 as a factor how many times? 2 times. So it's going to look like this. 4 times 4. Is 4 being used as a factor 2 times? Yes. Do you see 2 4s in front of you? You bet you do. What is 4 times 4? 16. Boom! You just simplified expressions that include exponents. Let's go to the third chunk in our notes. We have expanded form to exponent form. What does this mean, Ms. Kluver? Well, we're still working with exponents. We know that. Expanded literally means that. Kind of think wide. Exponent, it's going to be a form where we're using what? Exponents. Exactly. So write this expression down as an example. Here we go. Let's do 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. Notice I'm using the dot to represent multiplication. Yeah. Ooh, that's cool. Okay, expanded form. See how this is very long? Yes? So there's expanded form to exponent form. Do you see a number being multiplied multiple times? Yes. How many times is 5 being used as a factor? Or how many times is 5 being multiplied to 5? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means 4 is my exponent. So I could write this as 5 is my base because it's what's being used as a factor, but I'm using 5 as a factor 4 times. I would read this expression as 5 to the 4th power. Notice how we're kind of going backwards from what we were just doing. Let's do one more example with this. Write this one down. 2 times 2 times 1 times 4 times 2. Expanded form. Does this look very long? Yes, it does. To exponent form. Is there a number being multiplied more than one time? And it's the same number. So like, how many? Yeah, do you see them? I see 3 2s. I only see 1 1. I only see 1 4. Can I write those 3 2s in a more smaller way? You bet I can. 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 2 is being used as a factor 3 times. So I can write that as 2 to the 3rd power. And notice this. 2 times 2 is what? 4 times 2 is 8, right? 2 to the 3rd power, same thing as 8. Well, can I do anything with the 1 outside of just write times 1? No, because there's only 1 1. And there's only 1 4. So look at this. We just went from expanded form to exponent form. Do you see how we could use an exponent with the factors 2? With the factor 2? Yeah, because it was being used more than one time in a multiplication problem. We're done, ladies and gentlemen. You simplified expressions, and you used exponents to go from expanded form to exponent form. So if we go back up to our goal, can you recognize exponents as a new operation of repeated multiplication and simplify them? Here is repeated multiplication of the exact same number, right? Can you recognize that and then use that as an exponent? Could you simplify this right here, 2 to the 3rd power, and would you get 8? That's what we're working on.